Hello, this is Kelly Allen. You may not think that there's a lot of overlap between immigration law and family law, but in reality, there are several situations where there really is the overlap, and it's advantageous to have one attorney who is familiar both with immigration law and family law. So, one situation is, let's say that you've received your conditional permanent residence. You've been issued your green card for 2 years and then you need to remove the conditions. But unfortunately, things have not worked out with you and your spouse and you're now separated. So, you have the situation of needing to file an immigration petition to remove the conditions so that you can get your regular 10-year permanent residency. But you're also needing to go through the divorce process in family court. It's very advantageous if you have one attorney who can handle both aspects of that. Because, especially with regard to the immigration process, the timing of the divorce proceeding and the final divorce is very important to the petition that you're filing with immigration. So, if you're dealing with one person, one firm on that, it can be easier. Another, unfortunately, fairly common situation is a foreign national who is married to a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident. And unfortunately, the relationship has become abusive, and it can be physical, emotional, a combination, any type of example of extreme cruelty. And this can include trying to hold the immigration status over the foreign national spouse and threatening to have them deported or withholding the assistance in filing an immigration petition on their behalf. So there are immigration options for this. It's called a VAWA petition, where the abused spouse can self-petition for a green card. Again, you have the issue where there are family law and immigration law issues. So the immigration petition needs to be filed, but it's based on that abuse or extreme cruelty. But then there are also family law issues that need to be dealt with, possibly divorce, property division, even a 50B protective order if you feel threatened in the relationship. So again, it can be beneficial to have one firm handling both of those situations. You can also have a divorce case, and let's say that the marriage took place outside of the U.S. and maybe your spouse who you are wanting to file a divorce or a child custody or equitable distribution action against is overseas. Well, as long as you are a resident of North Carolina and meet the filing requirements, it doesn't matter ultimately where your spouse resides or where the marriage took place. So, but there are specific processes and procedures that have to be followed, and it varies depending on the country in which your spouse is residing. So, most family law attorneys are not necessarily comfortable dealing with the Department of State or the different consulates and embassies and dealing with the service requirements and figuring out what's going on, whereas an immigration attorney is regularly dealing with those entities. The final situation may sound really, really far-fetched, but in fact, we've encountered it numerous times in our practice. And that would be that a couple comes in and they want to file for permanent residency for the foreign national, only to find out that they're not legally married because one of the spouses had a previous marriage. They thought they were divorced, but there was somehow some glitch in the paperwork. And it usually happens that the divorce, was to be obtained in a different country. All the technicalities were not complied with. And so, in fact, one of the individuals is still legally married to the person they believed is their ex-spouse. Well, that means that immigration is not going to recognize this current marriage. So the solution for that is that the parties have to get legally divorced from the previous spouse and then actually remarried to the current spouse, if you will, and then file immigration paperwork. So It can be a complex type of situation, but there is a pathway forward if you're in the middle of that. But it is something that you would need a combination immigration and family law attorney to handle for you.